and the stuff which I'm going to show you is not like of coding. It's basically drag and drop. As all we do in PowerPoint, we have done in Excel. What is the stuff which we are going to do it now? But at the last, I will going to compare with coding in Python and in R2 with comparison of Tableau. Now, today's my session is on Tableau, that is basically data visualization. So, I'd like to start with a general introduction of Tableau. So, is my screen visible to all of you? So, just give me yes in the chat window if my screen is visible. If no, just write N. If yes, just write Y. I hope now the screen is visible perfectly fine. Okay. So today I will be going to start with Tableau. Now, many of you guys has listened about Tableau. Some or the other have worked on Tableau. But you don't believe me, we all have done some sort of presentation. We all have done sort of visualization in our life before also. For example, if somebody is liking to tell one of or some bosses or any organization or to a college that we need to require have a budget of 50 lakh for this particular session. Now that 50 lakh budget will be presented to the college in a way of bar charts and graphs so that the person who is likely to release the amount can understand, okay, this particular amount is going to distribute it in this particular sections. Now in the same way we are using Tableau. Now I will start with this particular word, analytics. Now within analytics, without visualization we cannot do anything. Visualization techniques do not require a handful of coding, it require a handful of imagination. If you have a good imagination, you can create very impressive graphs. On the basis of impressive graphs, you can deliver a lot insight to your client. Now if I'm saying about analytics, I will be going to describe about descriptive analytics. Why I'm going to describe our descriptive analytics? Because if a company wants to know what has happened in past, what the failure we have done in past, we are more focused to know okay, what we have done in past, and on those failure we can improve our future. And there are no any such sort of machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence which can tell us what has happened in past. If we want to analyze what has happened in past, we have to analyze on our own. We have to visualize. Now for that visualization, we have certain sort of tools in the industry, which we have Excel, which in the beginning we can have Excel. Now Excel has a very tough competition because previously when we are building dashboard and creating pivot table on Excel, we can also compute with some sort of automation with VBA scripting. But nowadays, when the industry is having a lot amount data, which we have known in the previous session, nowadays company don't require such type of thing that we can not automate or not have a dynamic reporting for us. Now we need a tool which can understand the business. Now for that understanding, we have our tools such as BI tools. Now, if I'm saying BI tools, BI basically stand for business intelligence. What business intelligence? It doesn't mean if a person who is from a BFSI domain and he's using Tableau or any such sort of BI tool, then BI tool is capable to generate insight on its own. No, it's not like that. If somebody is from if I say healthcare domain, then it doesn't tells you okay, now these are the hospitals which are earning higher profits and these are the hospitals which are earning lower profit. That doesn't means completely. BI tools means BI tool will assist you. You don't have to write any code, you don't have to write anything, you only have to drag and drop, and on the basis of your drag and drop, based upon inbuilt functions, it will try to create a visualization that you are requiring for. Now, for the BI tools, we have a whole about list which the industry is using. The maximum tools are as first of all Quick View, and we have Power BI, and at the last we have Tableau. Now, maximum of the companies are using Power BI. Why? Because it's free of cost. It doesn't require any investment. But as compared to Tableau, Tableau is much costly. Now Tableau can cost near about to 8 lakh per year if you go for a professional subscription. For student it's free. Now if I'm talking about Tableau, Tableau has been considered as the best visualization tool in the down 5 year by Gartner. Now Gartner is a very big elephant in the world of analytics. Now, if I'm saying about Tableau, if you want to work on Tableau, you don't require any coding skill. Only you want to have some sort of imaginative power. What the data is trying to tell and what the thing you are trying to grab from it. Now, if I'm taking a simple sort of thing that Tableau is basically a BI tool used for some sort of visualization, then you should know okay, how many Tableau versions or what are the software of Tableau are available in this particular market. Now, if I'm talking about Tableau, we have Tableau Desktop, we have Tableau Public, we have Tableau Online. Now, these three forms or these three versions of Tableau are used to create visualization. And if you want to publish your report, if you want to publish your report for publishing, they have separate version as Tableau Server, Tableau Online. Now, people can also consider this into publishing, but I will not consider because I can also create visualization and report on Tableau Public. Now, Tableau Public is the free of cost platform on which a person can learn Tableau. Now, if you are going to download this, it is free of cost only for 14 days. Or if you are going to go with this, it is also for 14 days. But if you want to work on Tableau Public, you can work for any time because it's free of cost. Now, what is the basic difference between Tableau Desktop, Tableau Online, and Tableau Public? Now, there are some features you should know that you have different in Tableau Public and Tableau Online. If you are going to work in, or if you want to have a good career, or if you want to switch your career, no issue at all, in business intelligence. Now, why we Tableau? Why we need Tableau? Why not other tools? Why not Excel is requiring? Why not Excel is very confined to have? Now, if I'm saying Tableau, you know that the data which we are generating is in a big amount and in a very versatile format, in very huge amount, as well as in huge variety also. So the best thing of Tableau is Tableau can connect with 50 plus servers as well as multiple variety of data. Now, theory is enough for this. Now we will be moving down some sort of practical things because practical things are more interesting than theory. So I will be moving down towards, I have Tableau, I don't have any this sort of subscriptive version. I have Tableau Public, which is a free of cost version, but there are some sort of limitation with Tableau Public. So I will be letting you know okay, what are the limitations and why not we will use, or why industry is using this. Now, for download, you can directly go to this. They have an own website. You can directly download from here. So you can download Tableau Desktop. You can also download Tableau Public. Now, Tableau Public is free of cost, whereas Tableau Desktop has 14 days trial, then you have to buy. But there is one exception that if somebody is studying in college or he or she wants to have for the research purpose, then they can submit their college ID. On the basis of that, Tableau is giving 1 year subscription plan free of cost to all the students. Now you can download up from here downloading is very simple. Just click on the executable file. It will install on your system, and while it will be installed, its icon will look something like this, where this particular icon I have on my window. So it is Tableau public version. It is very old, 10.4. Now the version of Tableau something look like this. Now what I will be doing, I'm just clicking on this particular Tableau. So I'm going to open, and the Tableau will look something like this. It is basically a very interactive form rather than Excel, because if I want to do some sort of visualization. So what is a basic difference between this Tableau and Excel? So I will be comparing both the things. Okay. So first of all, let it start. Meanwhile, I should have one of the Excel file also, in which I will write some data and perform some sort of analysis over there, and I will compare that sort of analysis why we are opt to BI tools rather than Excel. Today it can be a little bit slow session. So because my system is not actively working from in the morning since, so it's extremely sorry for you all guys. But meanwhile, I try to work with it. Now fine. I'm opening first of all Excel. Meanwhile, at backend Tableau is also opening. So first of all, I will be making you understand why we have stopped working with Excel and why we have switched to BI tools. Now, this is one of my Excel file. It has been opened twice. So I'll be closing one of the files. Now, this is my Excel file, and you all can see that I have some sort of things. Now, if I want to analyze anything, so I will writing a very small amount of data. I will say category. In our category, I will write B, I will write C, I will write D, and I will write E. Okay, now fine. On base of this category, suppose I have some sort of sales. So I'll be writing some sort of sales. This can be some sort of sales with it. Okay, now based on region, I have sales based upon region also. So it is a sales of east, it is a sales of north, it is a sales of north, it is a sales of east. Now fine. Now suppose if I want to analyze this data, my company wants to know okay, which region has maximum amount of sales or which not. So I will be using the sense or scenario of pivot table. So I'll come to the insert. In the insert section, I have pivot tables. Now I have to create this particular pivot table. I want to say, okay, make this particular pivot in the new sheet. So I will click on this, and you can see on the right hand part, I have all the columns. And on the basis of these column, I have some sort of things like there are some sort of filters, some sort of columns, some sort of rows, and we have some sort of values. Now, if I want to have sales based upon category, so only I have to click on this. It will directly go into rows. It will understand, okay, we are actually trying to understand what is a category. So it has put in rows. And if I want to say, it will give in sum of sales in values. Automatically it will go into sales. Why? Because it is so self efficient that it can understand okay, what is my categorical value and what is my numeric value. So if I again drag this, I have two amounts of this sales, but I can calculate or I can have multiple fields based upon that. Now suppose if I want to have a calculated sum, so I can just click over it and I can drag up here. I can say let have some sort of things over it. If I want to have value fields, I want to have count or minimum maximum based upon product. So if I say count, or I can say average, so I can also say okay. Now it is basically the average of. Now what happens now when we are dealing in this, we have very limited form of scope. Or if we want to have a region, on based upon region, if I want to select anything, now I will be saying come up here. Now based upon region, if suppose I have some region like this, now what it is like, now just a second, move to values. So I have region based upon count. Now I am not so efficient to tell my client what is happening into my thing. or what has happened into my past. Now, on that basis, Excel have some sort of more limitation. Now, if we have data in million, or if I say I have data about 50 million, now my Excel cannot handle such amount of data. Now, in order to handle such amount data, I need a more far advanced tool that can handle a lot and lot amount data. Now, I have moved down towards Tableau, and Tableau some looks like something like this. Now, this is a main screen of Tableau. This is not that screen which a public or Tableau desktop or an Tableau online version will find, because there is a quick concept of live and extract. If you are working in Tableau desktop, you will find one of the few concept of live and extract. But here you will not find live and extract. Here is no concept or no functionality. Basically, I can say no functionality of live and extract. Meanwhile, now you can see that this is basically the first GUI window of Tableau. Now this can be understood as a GUI application. Now in the left hand side, you will find that we have connect label up here. Now if you want to connect to any file, if you want to import any sort of data, you can see that we can import Excel file, we can import text file, we can import Access, JSON, Pickle, PDF, Sparkle, or statistical. Now if we want to connect to a server, you can see when I click on more server, I only find 3 kinds of server here. I don't have much amount of server. But if we are talking about Tableau desktop or Tableau online, there you can connect to, 50 plus servers. But here only what are there? We have only 3 servers which are available. So there is a huge limitation. Suppose I want to connect to Google Analytics. No, when I am working on Tableau online, Tableau desktop, I have a huge amount. I have 50 or 60 plus servers like Oracle, like MySQL, like MongoDB, or like suppose if I having a company like ABC, if Tableau is representing that server into their format, then I will be, then my that particular server or that particular database will be available up here. So there is a huge limitation if we are working with Tableau desktop or Tableau public. So there is a little bit introduction for that. What is the major difference? So you should have a quick view. Okay, what is the difference? Now if suppose I want to connect my Tableau to a data, then what I have to do? I have to some sort of write a code in order to import the data into my software, which we have seen yesterday. If I want to do some sort of machine learning or analysis, I have to first import data in R and Python. Do I have to write some that code like pd.read underscore csv file path and so on, all the stuff? And if something goes wrong, then I have to start from the beginning. No, here you only have to click, select the file, import it, and it will directly import to the Tableau. Now how it is going to be imported, let us see. Now I will be discussing what will we are going to, or what will be our agenda for the day. I will be first starting with introduction of Tableau, connecting to data, understanding Tableau features, basic charts, data understanding, measures and dimensions, mask cards, and we will be in the second half, we will be looking down towards how to create dashboards, and how to create dynamic storyboards. And at the last of the session, you will on your own, you can do any sort of analysis and you can make a real-time storyboard and dynamic storyboard, or a dynamic dashboard, or a dynamic sheets also. So it will be a very meaningful session if you are going to get little bit interested. Now I have given a little bit introduction about Tableau, so I will be now moving down towards connection to data. So what is connection to data? Now if I want to connect to a file, I need some sort of data. Okay, now I have a data which I have downloaded from the main side of Tableau. So when you are going to open the main side of Tableau, you will be finding this particular data, that is Superstore Sales 2016. Now I've taken this data from Tableau itself so that you don't have any problem fear from where the data has coming. I have taken this from their own site. It is basically in order to start, if you want, you are a beginner in Tableau, you can start with this particular data. It's a lot of data inside this particular Excel file. So first of all, I have to connect my Tableau with this particular file, that is global superstore sale, and that is an Excel SX file, which is an Excel file. Now how are we going to connect? First of all, I will be coming to this connect. Within connect, I have Excel. Now I will click on Excel. As soon as click on Excel, it will directly redirect my browser or my browse window to open, or this particular GUI browse window to the location where my superstore sales, global superstore sales order 2016 is kept. Now when I'm going to open it, you will find this particular GUI window will let me to another GUI window, which will be an interface for data. Now here I will be coming down to this particular window. Now you see I don't have any data. I cannot see any form of data on this particular window. You have imported the files, but in that particular file you have multiple files. On my left hand side, you can find that in the file of global superstore sale, in this particular superstore sale, I have two sheets. One is order and other one is people. Now if you want to have what is the sheet in order, so where you will be going to click down, just a second, open first, cancel down from here. Okay, now if here, if you're coming on the left hand side of mine, you can see there is a view data option up here. Now if you click on this view data option, you can directly view this particular data, what the data in this particular file is. Okay, so I'll be giving it time to open. Meanwhile, I will be closing the Excel file which are in my backend working. Let me close these Excel files. Okay. Now suppose if I want to have this particular data in my Tableau. So what I will do, I'll first off drag this particular sheet on this drag sheet here. So I will drag this sheet. As soon as I have dragged the sheet, you can see the order data into my Tableau. Now, if suppose somebody wants to show only the top 10 rows, so now you can come on the right hand side in the rows option, you can write 10. As soon as you write 10, you will have only the 10 row data. This, now if you want 100 rows, you can directly say 100, and now you have 100 rows of data. Now what is this data? Now you have also understood that if suppose I have two data and I want to join those data. Now if you are working in SQL, if you are working in Python, you are trying to merge data or you are trying to join data, now you have to write a lot amount of code. You have to understand what is a common column, what is a common element on which you have to join. In Tableau, you don't have to worry about. Tableau is a BI tool, business intelligence. It has own mind. It understands what is a common category inside those two sheets. Now, if suppose I have another sheet called people and I'm going to drag it, you can find that it has created its own join. Now there are four kinds of joins which are available in Tableau. First is called inner join, second is called left join, third is called right join, and the fourth is called full outer. Now if anybody wants to have different sort of join, so he can or she can click any of the form, so the data will be joined according to that. Now if I click on right join, the query is being executing query at the backend processing report time. It will take some time. Meanwhile, it will show you how it is actually working. So I will take some time and you can see my data has been right joined now. If suppose I want full join, Now I will be having full join. So now here you can see that I have a complete understanding how my data or how my data sets are being joined. Now, if somebody drag a very unnecessarily report, now suppose I say I drag out the order, or I only drag the people and I only drag the people. Now you can see that here you are having a little bit error on the right left hand side of that particular table. You can sign people with people one. Now you have to define on what column you want to join. Now there are two common columns like people and region, person and region, same way person and region in the both column. Now you can also type according to it. So I want to join this particular person with the person of first. Now you can easily establish a join. Before that, the Tableau is not able to understand because the columns are within the same table. So you have, if you have two tables and there are data is same, you want to join, so you have to first describe on what column name you have to join. Or you can also create your own join, so we are not going into that. So I will be dragging this particular out, I will be dragging this out, so I will be moving with order date, and base of order date I want to also go to the people's file and I want to drag. I will be having an inner join. When you created your data, means when you have formed your data, now your major things came for analysis. Now analysis has two parts. What are those two parts called? Now coming back, if you have exported the data into Tableau, now the questions arrive that what is to be analyzed. What is the thing that you have to what is to be, or what I can say, a simple word I can say, what is the final answer. Now what is the final answer? It is based upon caution directly. Now if suppose your client has already some caution regarding data, then your task is very limited. You only have to do some sort of analysis to answer the question. And your client has no cautions and he wants your points or review over his business. Now this particular job role is of business analyst or business consultant. Now somebody is a business consultant or a market consultant or any consultant person. Now if I am running a particular company, so I am going to him and saying that this is my data, can you let me or consult me what is the best product in which I should invest. Like if suppose a person who is a good investor or have a lot of amount of money and he wants to invest in some of the best companies or startup, now he can go to a consultant and ask him, okay, what is the best company of this in India or best startup in the year 2019 2020 in this particular field which I should go and have investment. So now there the question of client is specified, okay, I want to do this only. Now when the question of client is not specified and he's asking what or which startup, then you have the whole world to analyze. You can also analyze in USA, you can also like analyze in Australia, you can also analyze in India. Now when we have limited caution, we are only going for a limited sort. When we don't have any boundaries to analyze, we can whole go with our imagination. Coming up here, if I want to have very constrained form of imagination or where I don't have any boundary, I can say in the second case I don't have any boundary of imagination, I can create any sort of graphs. How I will be creating any sort of graphs? For that you have to require a sheet where you will perform your rendering of graph. If you are familiar with the term rendering, which means I will be drawing or sketching my graph. So I need a sheet. If you want to draw something, you need a piece of paper. In the same way, if I want to draw or generate insight from this particular data, I need a sheet where I can or somebody can render the portion of graph and generate insight by reading that data. So where I will be getting, now you can see in that down format I have this particular thing where it is saying new sheet. Go to worksheet. Now on this particular worksheet I have sheet number 1. Now when you click on this particular sheet, on the second option you have new worksheet up here. So if you want to have multiple worksheet, you can click, but first of all, I will go to sheet 1. So I click on this sheet 1. Now my whole data will be segmented into my sheet 1 based upon their source. But without moving down to sheet 1, without going to the rendering part, first of all, I should understand what are the data types which are in data source. So I will come back to the data source, and in the data source field you can find sort fields. Now here, if you want to sort your data, you can sort your data into ascending order. You can see that the data is sort into ascending order. If you want to sort data into descending order, you can also sort data into descending order. When you will be coming down on the data, you will find this particular things. Now each column has some sort of data or data type. Now where you will find these data type. Now if I make this column, if I select this column, in the top part of this column you can find it is written with ABC. In this particular order column you can find a globe or a globe type structure. In this column you can find that there are some hash type object. Now what are these object, or in this particular order date you can find a image of a calendar. Now what are those particular thing? Now if you click on this particular, if you click on this particular column, and after click on this particular column you come to ABC where ABC is written, and you click on ABC, you will find that there are certain type of data types in Tableau. We have number with decimal, we have whole number, we have date time, we have date, we have string, we have boolean, and by we have default. Now if I am on ABC, which means it is a string value, and when I'm going to the geographical role, it doesn't tells me that is an airport or an area or a city. That means it can be only names. Meanwhile, when I'm coming to this particular state, or I'm coming to this particular globe type, so in that particular globe type you can see when I click on this, it is basically a string, but within the string it has some geographical role. And what is the geographical role it has? It has state and provinces. So from here you can also know about what column has what sort of data. After analyzing this, if you have, suppose you have this, so I will be coming, I will be saying to data source. Now in data source you can see that I have this particular order ID. Now if I want to have order ID split from, or I want to generate a new column which is having order ID, so if you are working in Python or R, you have to write some sort of code. Here you don't have to write on code. You click on this particular icon. Here you have a column called custom split. After coming to custom split, you can split your data based upon custom. Now what you want the order ID. So order ID is in the last customized format. So you will just click OK, and you will see a new column which is a split column of order ID. Now all the order IDs has been split from this order ID value. So this is the most dynamic thing which a person can do. So I'll be coming back. I have the same data. I will be going to sheet 1. Now this is the sheet where I am going to render my picture, render my imagination, render my questions of my client. And that rendering can be done in a very simple and easy format. Now this is a sheet. Now first, in order to render something, you should understand what are your pencil, what are your color, what are your pen, what are your tools, what are your scale. Okay, now in this particular thing you have two things. You have a very clear cut widespread sheet in your which you are seeing on my screen. Now we will be moving down towards the left hand side. In left hand side we have two things. One is dimension and other are measures. Now what is dimension and what are measures? You should be understanding here. So I have written, I'll be moving with, we have understand this. Now we will be understanding this. Now what is dimension and what are measures? Okay, suppose I make a data. If suppose I make a data here, I have data, very small data. I have, suppose I have name of product like A, B, and C, and on the basis of product name, suppose I say I have some sort of quantity value. Now what quantity I have sold about for this? So I have a quantity value. Suppose for A I have sold about 10 product, 10 amounts. Suppose for B I have sold about 20, and for C suppose I have sold about 30. Now you can see the name of product are in a form of category, and whereas the quantity are in form of amount or numerical value. In the same way, I will be saying that the name of product, category, name, string type of data, labels, any location can be understood as dimension, and any sort of numerical value can be understood as a measure value by medium which we can measure any amount. Now in here you can find it is tableau, it is so efficient that it can separate the column based upon data type into dimension and category. In dimension we have all the string type, you can see all the string type is there. Meanwhile we have all the geometry type which is of string type, and then all the thing we have all the date type, string type, all the things. Okay, but when I'm coming down in measure, I only have numeric and numbers. I don't have any. Now, how you will be differentiating? Can you see when I'm clicking this particular order ID in dimension, it is of blue color, and blue color directly notes that it is a dimension. Meanwhile, if I'm coming up here in measure, it is of green color. Now you can justify that what the thing of green color is measure or a quantity which can be measured. Now after understanding this, you have multiple things like page, drag, dimension of measure. Now you have filters. Now filters is the most important thing in order to understand what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Below that filter, I have marks card. Now these marks card are of 5 categories. I have color, I have size, I have text, I have tool tips, and I have details. You will be understanding each thing. If you drag a single column into this particular marks card, it will help you to generate some sort of graph. Okay, now what sort of graph? Now suppose I have a question. Now somebody wants to render something. So let us render something in this 45 minutes what we have. In the next 45 minutes till the break time, I will helping you, or I will be making you understand different type of charts, and on the basis of these charts we are trying to render a whole set of imaginative picture for us. And in the next part where we will be meeting from 2 to 3, I will be creating dashboard and storytelling board with the help of these charts. So it will be a connective picture for a whole scene. Now if suppose I have a client question, so I can also write my client question somewhere here. Can you see I have a sheet name? If I want to change the sheet name as to my question, I can click on the sheet name. Suppose I have first question. Question one from the client. What the client says? My client says that I want to know sales of category, sales of different category. Okay, now I don't want to sales of different subcategories. I only know want to sale of categories. Okay, now categories can be different. Okay, now this is the first question. If you want to have a bullet of it, okay, now you can also change the font of it. Now fine, I will apply this, and you can see this is my question. No sales of different categories. Okay, now you have two columns. You have two axes, x and y axis. You can see on the sheet where you can where it is written, you can drop field here, you can also drop a field here. Meanwhile you can see I have a row and I have a column. Now only what is my question? I want to know the sales. Okay, now you also know that what is my sales. My sales is, or you can also drag the title up, or in the same scenario, just a second. Okay, I'll be going to sheet one. It has just come out. It can also take 20 seconds or 30 seconds to process the data request. Or it can, the data request also can goes to 1 minute also. That depends upon the processing power of a system. So I'll be just canceling this. I'll be moving down towards the sheet one. Now fine. Now I have a sheet one up here, so let me uh, ex- uh, hide from here. So I will be hiding this sheet one. Okay, now if I want to know, okay, what is the amount or what is the thing I want to add, so I know I have a question like sales. I know I have a question of sales data. So what I will be saying, I want to know the sales. So I will be clicking on sales and dragging up here. Just a simple, I will be dragging the sales up here. So I have a sales, so I will just wait for a while. Now I have sales amount up here. I don't want sales here. I want sales in some sort of data. So I'll be dropping up here. I will be taking sales into one of the rows or column. So when I just drop my row up here, I will find this. Okay, different sort of rows and columns here. Okay, now fine. If I take this into columns, now columns will be something like here. Now I want my row, or my question is I want to know the categories wise sales. So from the dimension table, because category is in the text value, I will drop the category and apply on the row. As soon as I apply on the row, you can find I have this sort of graph. If I want the horizontal, this is horizontal. I want vertical, I can swap the axis. And in a clear cut instruction, we have make a very simple bar chart of different type of categories based upon sale. Okay, now if somebody wants to know that, okay, this is fine, I want to know which category has done the maximum amount of sales or done max amount of profit. So what I will be coming up here, what amount of profit, so I'll be coming to the profit, and using this marks card, I can generate a very beautiful form of bar chart which is based upon sale as well as profit. Now when I drag on this, you can see that the color has been changed. Now it is directly saying that though we have a good investment in furniture, though there are good sales in furniture, but as compared to office supply, we have much profit in office supply as compared to furniture. Now you can see the title. Meanwhile, if you want to see the profit on the title of that, you can also have the sum of profit on the label option. So you can find that we have created a very simple and sober chart, that is a bar chart of different type of categories that are furniture, that are office supplies, and of technology based upon that. Now, second question. Now, this is one of the chart I can create. Now, what sort of charts I can create? So I will be coming up here. You can see on the right hand side, you have this particular show me. As you click on this show me, you have 25 variety of chart and plus 20 if you are working in Tableau desktop and Tableau online. Here we have some sort of limited chart. So now what sort of chart you can build, it will assist you on the basis of that. Now can you see at the down of the chart, if you want to draw a text table, you should have one or more dimension and one more measure. If you want to have heat map, you should have one or more dimension, one or more measure. If you want to have the pie chart, you should have one or more measure. Now from where you will understand measure, now dimension is this, the text column, and the measure are this, the numerical column. Now we will, if you want another chart, now suppose you have created this chart, you have another question. Okay, and what is that another question? Now coming up here, if you want to have another sheet, you just have to click on next sheet. So you will be coming up here. Okay, in the first session, when I was also being a part of that, you all were active in that particular session, and and there was a term called word cloud. I think you all have heard about. Now there was a term of word cloud which was being made with the help of some sort of text or some sort of columns or some sort of information. Now, my company wants to know which of the subcategories, means which of the subcategories. Now, what are those subcategories or what are those subcategories cost? Now, suppose if I say I want to know the sales according to subcategories, then I want to analyze the word count or cloud or word chart or word tree for that. Now, suppose if I want to know that, my second question comes around here and it says that what is the trend in, or I will directly say what is the subcategory subcategories wise sales. Now I want to know subcategories wise sales, which is based upon category. Now you also know that if you want to know subcategories wise sales, first of all you should have category. So I will be coming down to hierarchy. In order to generate hierarchy, I know I have to first import category, because each category should have subcategory. So I'll be taking the subcategory dimension after the category. So I'll be dragging this subcategory dimension, and you can see that I have this particular subcategory inside. Now, based upon subcategory, I want the profit or sales. Suppose I say I want to have sales, so I will be saying in the sales column. So you can see I have multiple bar chart, or I can say it is a very simple bar chart on the basis of subcategory, and where we can find that we have different sort of category. Based upon category, within that we have subcategory. For example, if I'm looking in furniture I have bookcase, I have chairs, I have furniture furnished, I have tables. In the base same subcategory, in the category I have appliance, I have art, I have binders, and multiple things. And you can see on the basis of that, or we can also create a simple form of bar chart. Now somebody wants to know, no, I don't want bar chart, I want a tree map. So he can come up here and he can generate a tree map without any sort of code. On this base of tree map, we can also generate some sort of information that where there is darker section, there the sales is high, and where there is lighter section, there are sales is less, and where the size is more, it means there is a large amount of sales, and where the size is less, where we can see that we have less amount of sales in that particular section. Now this can be understood as a subcategories wise sales based upon tree map. Now my client wants to know which was the, or what was the product which was very famous amongst the people during our campaign. Now I have done some sort of campaign. Now after campaign, people wants to have a very quick feedback about my products. Now my company wants to know, okay, what sort of thing I want to know. So from that particular information, I want to gather some sort of insight. Now for that particular some sort of insight, if somebody says I want a word cloud, so with the help of only dragging and dropping and use of marks card, we can easily create a word cloud. How? Now somebody wants to know, okay, on the basis of sales, I want the subcategories form. So I will click on subcategories. I will take sales. Based upon that, I will say, okay, show me a tree map. I will click on this particular tree map. Now you can see I have tree map up here based upon subcategory and sales. Now this is a tree map for sales and subcategory. Now in the marks card, you have seen there is a word called automatic. Now I will click on this automatic, and I only want the text. So I will come up here and only say text. Now, can you see that I have a word cloud which was shown by that particular slide, but now I am working on a actual case study. So now you can see on this figure, the more darker the word is more profit, and the word which are light darker and little bit, if I compare in the size, they are little bit small, and the word which are more darker and more in size are have a lot of amount of data. And eventually you can compare this particular word chart with the bar chart also. So I will be coming to sheet 2, or I will be coming to sheet 2. I will be converting this particular show me chart to a bar chart. So I'll be going to a bar chart. I will be swiping the bar chart axis to X and Y. And you can see that in the subcategory or in the technology, I have phones in a very huge amount of sales. Now I will be verifying my data up here. So you can see, yeah, I have phones in a very huge amount of sales. So by this form, we can easily create multiple charts. Now, again, suppose somebody came to me and he or she says, now my company wants to know, okay, what amount of profit we have generated in the last 10 years, or what is the amount of sales or profit we have generated in the last 10 years. Now, I have to generate, or I have to start analyzing based upon data or dates. Okay, now suppose I have such sort of thing, like I want to do some sort of analysis on date. So I will be going to this. Can you see there is a order ID and order date? So I'll be clicking on date, and I will be dragging that date into the row column. So when I click the date into row column, I have year of 2012, 2000 this and 2000 that. Now here what I'm doing, I'm doing some sort of analysis. Now profit analysis based on time. This sheet contain profit analysis based upon time. So I have to drag, if I have dragged the time in the rows, I'll be taking profit in the columns. So when I take profit in the columns, you can see I have a very confined rate of this. But this particular chart, if somebody present me, this is not a very efficient chart. You also believe in that. So how will I make it efficient? Just let's swap the rows and column. Now it is fine. Now people can understand, okay, this is a profit for 2015, 12, 2013, and you can see that our profit is going on increasing per year. Okay, means which directly means my company is doing fine. Okay, now somebody came to me and he or she says that I want my sales analysis should be based upon 3 months or quarter or this. So for that you have a very best option of drill down hierarchy. Now what are drill down hierarchy or hierarchy means? Suppose I am working in, if I have a hierarchy structure like this, suppose within year you have months, within months you have weeks, within week you have days. Now this is a hierarchy we can understand for time. Now if I have suppose I have country, within country I will find state, within state I have cities. Now this can be understood as a hierarchy for geographical location. Now in the same way I have a hierarchy for date time. So when I click on this particular date time, you can see I have a column for quarter, I have a column for month, I have a column for date, and you can also have a column for week number, and you can also customize your things. So I will not customizing up here. I will be only saying, okay, on the basis of quarter. So on the basis of quarter, I have this for 2015. I have a quarter for 2001. This is a quarter for sales. Now based upon quarter. Okay, I don't want based upon quarter. I also want sales, or I also want sales based upon overall sum. So first of all, I will come to year. Okay, then I will again take order date and drag up here, and based upon that you can see I have based upon each quarter. But now this particular thing is not a clear cut graph, because in this I have getting 4 graph and I'm not able to compare any. So what I will be doing, I will be dragging this onto the colors. When I will be dragging this onto a color, now I can easily find quarter wise sales based upon data. Now I can see in this was the sales performance or profit sales performance in the year 2014 for the fourth quarter. This is a fourth quarter one. This is a second quarter, and each quarter you can have a sales comparison for each year. Now this can be also form of impressive graphs, or the graph which have some sort of information. Now if I want to have some more information or relevant charts regarding this, I can create some sort of action. Now whenever you are seeing any movie, in that when you have a very confined business meetings with clients, or if you are having a real-time business meeting with clients, you can see by single clicking we are changing the second graph, or we are moving down to second graph. Now what is those things are called? Now those things are called means we are hitting one form of graph and we are redirecting our whole page, or we are redirecting our sheet to another sheet. Now how that particular things works? Now suppose I am making a very small thing, like I click on a sheet. Okay, and suppose I want to analyze based upon market, and on the basis of market I want to go into subcategories wise column. Okay, before that, if somebody says, okay, I want to analyze market based upon location. Now I say based upon country, find the profit analysis or profit based upon country or based upon location. I want to find some sort of profit. Now Tableau is so self efficient that you don't have to import any library, or you don't have to call any sort of thing. It can directly create a very good graph or a chart or any form based upon its own. Now if I'm working in Python, I have to work on Folium. Now Folium is a best library if you are working with geometrical or coordinate forms of data. Now I am not importing any folium sort of thing, only I have to click on state wise. I click on the states are present in data. So as soon as I click on state, you will find that it will generate a map on its own. So it can take some time. Meanwhile, if it is not, then I will be swapping my internet. Actually, one of my router doesn't support maximum websites. So if it is not working, I will be showing in the next phase, and I will be coming back. I will be showing you in the next phase how we can generate graphs. Now if on the on why these particular things are looking something like this, because my internet is, or my router is not allowing it to scrap from the site. Okay, now if suppose I click on this particular state wise. Now state wise also, now if I click on country, or I have some sort of country wise, if I click on country, again what happened. Now can you see, if I click on country, then I can see different sort of, or a some sort of things, like I am getting a whole graph, but at the back end I'm not getting anything. Now it can have due to some sort of internet failure or internet breakdown between the packages or modules which are available online for Tableau. Okay, now this is not an inbuilt form, it is working with the live application which are on web browser or websites. Okay, so I'll be not going with this particular graph, I'll be putting this graph here only, and I'll moving down towards second graph. I will be showing this particular graph. Now if I drag sales or quarterly sales over color, now you can see I have different forms of color based upon up here. Now you can see now the word map, or the map is coming right, fine, confined, right, good. Now if I don't take this country, I only take the states, so I have a states of USA. Now on the basis of USA or profit, I can maximize. Okay, now these are the area which I have low profit, and these are the area Washington, California, and New York. I have a huge amount of sales. So my thing is that where I am earning negative rate, I am earning negative rate in Pennsylvania. I am earning negative rate in Texas and many more, Colorado, negative rate in Florida. But what is a best rate? What is a moderate rate which I am earning? I am earning moderate rate in Wisconsin and Minnesota and many more. Okay, Maryland and many are there, Virginia, and there are many things we can analyze from this graph. Now, if somebody wants to analyze based upon country, okay, I want country also up here. So I'll be clicking on country directly. I will click on country. Country will be understanding. Now, suppose I want India. Now, if within India, I can have some sort of graph. Okay. Now, if anybody wants to filter based upon country, I want to apply a filter which will be based upon country. So I can click on country, drag the country to filters. As soon as I have dragged the country to filter, it will ask me what country you want to apply. I will say I want to apply all the countries. I will click all and apply and OK. Now you want a drop down menu. आपको क्या करना है, आपको एक यहाँ पे भी drop down menu चाहिए साइड से, जो आपको ये बताए कि ये किस कंट्री का है, कौन सी कंट्री का होगा. ठीक है, तो आपने क्या करेंगे, यहाँ पर आएंगे, कंट्री वाले पे आप क्लिक करा और आपको यहाँ पर आएगा शो फिल्टर्स. नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर फिल्टर विल बी अप्लाइड हियर. So can you see I have a filter? I don't want to see for all. Now suppose I want to see for India. So I'll be coming down. I will be clicking on India and I will have only the data for India. Just a second, let me click on few of the countries. And I'll be waiting for it to drag or it to draw. Okay. Now fine. Now I don't have any stuff. I don't have any stuff now. But as soon as I will click on all. It will generate. Okay, I only have data for USA. I think I don't have data for Afghanistan. Now if I click on this, okay. Now four unknown. Four unknown means other my amount of data is not so much that I can visualize. So I will be definitely coming up here and okay, find all countries. I have data for USA. I'll be clicking OK. I will be showing all filters. Filter can be like this. We can apply this filter. Now somebody came to me or my client wants to know based upon subcategory. I'll be going to sheet number 6. I'll be making this to, if suppose my client wants to know, okay, this is fine. I want to know based on region, what is the sales. Now based upon region, now region is can be found in dimension, so I have region up here, so I will drag region. So these are my regions from where my sales is coming. Okay, now I want the sales. So I will say, okay, let's find quantity wise. So when I click on quantity, you can find, okay, this is a strip chart, or we can say it's the bar chart format, but it is, I will not say this is a bar chart. Okay, now when I say I want based upon what quantity, what I have done about sales. So I will drag the sales in here. Now on the basis of that, you can find a very simple bar chart. I don't want this. I will be saying I want to filter this region based upon category. Now I will be filtering these region based upon categories. I want all the categories. So I'll click up here. I'll say apply and I will click on OK. Now based upon these categories, I want to see each categories wise. So I'll click up here. When I say okay, no, I don't want each category. When I click on furniture, you can see I will only get all the sum of quantities based upon region only for furniture. Okay, when I click on office supply, it will only go for office supply, and you can see my chart or my graph is being so dynamic that I can easily see what amount I want to see, and you can say that the whole chart is getting dynamic. So now this form actually industry is looking forward. Now how I will navigate one sheet to another. If suppose I click on one sheet, it will directly navigate to other. Now suppose if I click on this sheet, I am my window is only on this sheet. I cannot redirect my this particular sheet or any other sheet to any window. Now this is a major thing I want to analyze. Okay, now suppose if I want to have a caption, I want to write some of my review. होता है ना, अगर आप कोई भी ग्राफ देखो तो आपसे कोई पूछेगा, सपोज अगर मैं फर्स्ट शीट पर आऊं और इस शीट में मुझसे कोई पूछे कि इसके अंदर हो क्या रहा है, तो मुझे उसके लिए कैप्शन देना पड़ेगा. कैप्शन कहां से आ सकता है? आप वर्कशीट पे आपके पास एक आपके पास कह सकते हैं एक लेबल है, लेबल बटन है. इस लेबल बटन पर आप क्लिक करेंगे तो आपके पास आएगा शो कैप्शन. अब जैसे यहाँ पे कैप्शन बताएंगे तो वहां पर ये बीआई टूल क्यों कहता है, टैब्लू को बीआई टूल इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि ये इतना सेल्फ एफिशिएंट है, खुद कैप्शंस आपको बता सकता है. कैप्शन क्या बोल रहा है? ये बोल रहा है सम ऑफ सेल्स फॉर ईच कैटेगरी, कलर शो सम ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड द मार्क्स आर लेबल बाय सम ऑफ प्रॉफिट. तो यहाँ पर जो भी हमने इसके अंदर यूज करा है, चाहे हमने मार्क्स कार्ड यूज करा हो, चाहे हमने कॉलम यूज करा हो, चाहे हमने कैटेगरी यूज करी हो, वो उसके लिए नीचे कैप्शन के फॉर्म में उसने बता दिया. नाउ I will be what my second phase. My second phase will be automating a worksheet to another worksheet. Now, how I will be automating? So for automating, what I will be doing, I will be simply creating a categories wise sales. Okay. So what I will be doing, I will be saying, I will have a category wise sales. Now, when I say categories wise sales, I will say apply. Okay, this is my categories wise sales. I want categories and my order. So I will copy this to row. I want sales. So based upon these sales, I will drag this column. I will swap by using this. So I have swapped the values. Now I want to have another sheet. So I will be going to sheet number 8. Within sheet, I will be saying this is a sales, or I can say profit. I'll be saying this is a profit which will be based on subcategory. So I say subcategory. I'll say apply. Okay, now this sheet will be having a navigation. Now this particular sheet will be a navigation to sheet number 8. How this navigation will work? Now, first of all, let's have some say subcategories in this. So I'll drag some categories here. On based upon subcategories, I want profit. So I'll be having some sort of profit up here. Now, if I want to drag, I don't want this particular chart. I want this sort in form of a table. So I will click on this and you can see I have this particular form of table. Okay. Now I want that whenever I click on furniture, my Tableau should navigate me to this particular sheet. So how will it work? So first of all, I will come up here, click on this particular sheet. And when I will click on this worksheet, you have an action function, which is up here. You will click on this action. You want to add an action. You want to do some sort of action up here. So you will click on action. What you want some sort of filters over it. So you will click on filters. Okay. Now which sheet you want to have? So you will click, okay, I want to have my main as target sheet 7. So I want to start from target sheet 7. My main sheet will be 7. I want to target my sheet number 8. Okay, my sheet number 8 will be my target. What I want to have a select. So I will have select. I will say so show all values. Okay, and I will say select all values. You can also have select all values. You can add filter, but I want all values. So I'll be clicking on apply. I'll be clicking his okay. When I just now my sheets are being actively collaborated with the action. So when I will click on this particular technology, you can see that I am redirecting to the subcategory of technology. Now if I come back to sheet number 7, I just let me expand this particular block. Now when I expand, if I want to see the subcategories for office supply based upon sales, so only I have to click on this, and this will redirect me where, to the table or to the chart where I have all these type of subcategories wise profit. Now you can also have a some sort of bar chart, but this bar chart is not fine, but you can have a bubble chart up here. So now you can see that while I am clicking over one of the cells, my bar chart is getting dynamic. I can redirect myself from one sheet to another sheet. Now that is a power of business intelligence. But this is not the actual thing a business intelligence or a BI person or a person who is working in a sort of visualization can do. People can also tell clients, or they can also generate some sort of views or their imaginative power to make their visualization report much better. Now how they work, how they don't work, we'll be seeing that all things. We will be moving down with what, we'll be moving down with this scenario in the second part, that is creating dashboard, how we create a dashboard and how we create dynamic storyboards. Now if suppose I want to understand more about Tableau, from where I should learn. So for this particular project or for this particular thing, I have created 8 sheets. Sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5, 6 and 7. 7 and 8 sheet are dynamic. I make sheet dynamic. When I click on this, it will redirect to me on the sheet 8 based upon each categories wise. Now you can see on, if I click on this technology, I will only going to the subcategory of technology. Now you want that on this particular bubble chart, I want what was a quantity or what are the quantities which I have sold. So you can click on this particular quantity and you can drag this quantity to the label on the marks card. When you click on this particular label on the marks card, you can see these amount of quantity we have click over. Now if somebody wants to know, okay, this is fine, I will have a pie chart. This will be my final chart. So I'll be having a pie chart. I'll be drawing a pie chart. So I have a pie chart. It will be based upon category and profit. What amount of profit I have generated from each category. So I'll click up here. I'll be saying, okay, I will be having categories. So I'll be coming up. I'll be having categories. So I'll be taking categories to this. I'll be have a profit. So I'll be coming up to has a profit up here. So I have a profit. Okay, I will be going to pie chart. Okay, now this pie chart is not perfectly fine. Now what I have to do, if suppose I say this is a pie chart, I can have some sort of quantity over the label. As I click on label, I can see that I have furniture. Now you also want that there should be label on this. You can have the label on text. Now you can see this is a very customized pie chart. If you want to drag it or you want to expand, you can also expand the shape of this, something like this and something like this. Now you can also drag the shape. Now this is a very important pie chart. On base of furniture, you will have profit as well as quantity, and you can see that we have created a very creative pie chart based upon now. Now pie chart cannot be so complex, not so overlapping. Pie chart should be very basic in order to describe some of the insight from data. Okay. Now, if suppose I have this, now these are the things, pie chart based upon category and profit. And pie chart based upon this. Now we have seen multiple charts. What are those multiple chart? We have seen bar chart. We have seen multiple bar chart comparison. We have seen word chart. This is a word cloud. So I'll be making this as a word cloud, which will be based upon categories wise. So this is a word cloud or a word chart, which is we have made this particular chart from a tree chart. So in this we have profit analysis based upon time, we have heat, we have country based analysis, we have based upon region sales, we have navigate our sheet, to this particular bubble chart, and after that at last we have done pie chart. Now what is my basic thing? I have multiple sheet. Okay, I don't have a single storyboard or I don't have a single dashboard. Now, when you say about dashboard, what are dashboards are? Dashboard are basically a very comprehensive form of reporting. Means you have multiple sheets on a dashboard, and based upon that dashboard, you can tell your clients, okay, when we are dealing in USA, and if I'm only doing analysis for New York, now this is the sales for New York in category and subcategory, or this is a New York sale for 2015 and 2016 based upon category. Now, dashboard can be multiple, single, or storyboard can be multiple or single. That depends upon business scenario and business understanding. So I'll be moving down to the main thing. What is that? How to create dashboard. Now, dashboard can be created in a very easy format like drag and drop. So I hope you have easily understood what we actually do in Tableau. We have this dimension, this measure, which are being taken from the data file which we are importing. Now, how many or how can we import? Now you can see also there is a data button up here. You can click on this data. You can also have a new data source. You can, if you don't want this, you can also have a new data source. Meanwhile, if you want to have more things what? So let me click on the new sheet. So I have a sheet 10. This will be some sort of calculative fields. So I can say some sort of calculative fields or some sort of mathematics, what you can perform up here. I'll click on this. Okay, fine. Now, if I want to know, okay, if I have, suppose I have different sort of countries, but I have multiple countries, I will be taking region. So I'll be taking region up here. I have regions up here. If I say I have shipping cost, now I have shipping cost up here based upon region. Now I don't want this, so I'll be coming up here and I want to see this form of tables. Okay, now table. Now what I want the grand total. Now here I want the grand total. So what, where I will be going? I will be going to analytics. In that analytics, I have some form of aggregative functions. Now what this? I can show percentage of table, column wise, row wise, row in planes, cells, total. I want to show grand total by rows, total by column. So when I click on grand total by column, you can see I have grand total by column. Now somebody wants to format this. Now if anybody wants to format this, somebody says I want to format this. So how he or anyone can format? So he can go to analytics. First of all, let me come to data. Within data, I have some sort of formatting where, so I'll be going to file. Let me see where the thing is that. So new map formats. Okay, here is format. So you can have the font also, you can have the color also. So if you want to row, if you want to format any, so there are multiple things. Okay, you can format up from here. We won't go for formatting because that will only add time in our session. So this is the basic things which anyone can perform, anybody can do. Now, in order to understand more about Tableau, more the practice you do, more the things you perform, and you should have a significant way to understand. Okay, now there are multiple maps. We have, if I click on this new sheet, now there is bubble map, bubble chart is there. We have bullet charts, we have Gantt charts. Now where we use Gantt charts. Now, if suppose I have a project going on and I want to make my client understand what we have completed and what the thing is going on and what we will be doing, I can show in form of a Gantt chart. Now, where we in that we have box and bezel charts, we have histograms. Histograms only need, or we use histograms in order to show what is a data distribution. Now, if suppose I have in 11 sheet, I'll be coming back to this particular sheet. I will not use 11 sheet, so I'll be deleting this sheet. I will be using in 10th sheet only. I'll be taking this row. I don't want this sum of sales. Suppose I want to show up histogram. So I'll be taking this sales to row, and I will be saying let's have the histogram for this. When I click on histogram, you can find that the histogram is something like this. Now if I don't want histogram for this, I'll be dropping or taking this out. I'll be taking, let's have some profit over here, and I want to see the histogram for profit. So I'll click on this. Just a second. I will take the profit up to the row column. I'll have profit here. I'll click on histogram. Histogram only takes one measure, so you can see the histogram. Now you can see the basically count. It is basically the profit count from this, and the maximum of the profit count is on 35,000. So this is a maximum value which I am having. Maximum cost of count of profit, maximum profit which I have occurred to 35,000. Now these things can also be understood. Now, and here we have dual combination when we have multiple chart. For example, if I want to have a bar chart as well as I have want to have some sort of thing now in which I have two dimension. Now, what two dimension it can be? Suppose I say one thing I have. Now, suppose I will be making this off. I say I have some sort of sales and I have some sort of based upon sale I have profit. I will click on this. Okay, now for this I need two measures. I need two measures, so I will click up here. I have two measures. Okay, suppose I have two measure. Now also it is not combining. Now what for dual? In dual chart we need two measure. Now in this you have one data, so I will be coming up here for dual. Try one data. You should have a one data also. I don't have any form of data, so I have to import one data. Here I don't have one data, but here we can have 0 to 2 measure, but there is no sort of data available here. But here if I want to have a dual combination graph, I should have two labels. Now in this I have one data, zero or more dimension. In heat maps, multiple line chart, these are circle view chart, these are multiple slide by slide chart, these are tree maps, side by slider charts. We have stack bar chart, horizontal bar chart, pie chart, map chart, which we have created the map chart. This we have highlighted table chart. In this we need can have more than one dimension or one measure, the heat map, and at the last table chart, the table chart which we have seen previously also. So these are the different charts which we can operate. Now we will having a short break. After that we will meeting by 2 and we will be moving down towards, we will create dashboards using Tableau, and we will be seeing how to create dynamic storyboards, because this is the most important thing which a person should know. And you have seen in this particular last 1.5 hour that Tableau is the most easiest tool to work on. I don't have created any sort of code, I don't have created anything, but I am able to create wonderful charts. But the only need is I should have an imaginative power what I want to do. I have created a very good connecting board or a connecting sheet. You can see we have created a very thing which was told in the first part, that is word cloud. And making word cloud in Python can take up to 20 line of code, 30 line of code, but here only drag and drop, making this particular marks stuck to text. But if we click marks card to Gantt chart, it will not give anything, because this is a categories wise Gantt chart. Meanwhile, you have to be very specific in order what you want to have or you want to achieve. That's why what I was saying from the beginning, in or when we are using Tableau, we don't require any sort of coding. We only required a much sort of imagination. So I will be holding this particular session now. Will you be meeting by 2? Then we will be moving down with what how we create a dashboard and how we create dynamic storyboard in Tableau.
That's all, Abhinash
Yeah,
sir,
ma'am.
from your
For the
side.
first half, it is fine. We will meeting on by 2. I'll be taking this particular session to the next level for Tableau desktop, sorry, for dashboard creation and dynamic report storyboard creation.
Okay. So let us keep the break up to
Yeah,
2 minutes.
ma'am. We can have a session for 40 minutes break. We will be meeting by 2:10. I think so. It is fine for all.
So so let us keep at
Yeah,
2:15.
ma'am.
By
2:15 will
2:15
be fine.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.